Well, good morning, and a beautiful morning it is. I've got the sun coming up in the east. I've got this beautiful trail. Just love running out here. But on today's video, I am reviewing the Nike Wildhorse 10. This is a pretty substantial and worthy upgrade. In fact, Nike went from version 8 straight to version 10. That's how good this upgrade is, supposedly. It's kind of like Winamp when they went from version 3 to version 5. Do you guys remember Winamp back in the early 2000s, late 90s? The Wildhorse 10 features some pretty good upgrades and some improvements, but is it worth buying, worth considering? I will tell you there is still one outstanding drawback, but more on that here in a minute. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel and consider joining the channel membership, only $1 a month. Moving on with the video, I'm going to be talking about a few things, specifically the overall build quality and comfort, the performance, and the value of the Wildhorse 10. But first, voiceover Chad, why don't you tell us about some of the specs and features of the shoe?
Nike states, roam your favorite trail or go for that technical route you've always wanted to try in the Wildhorse 10. We upgraded the ride from the previous iteration to responsive ReactX foam, and our go-to trail traction pattern combines with a lightweight upper so you can embrace tough terrain with confidence. As for some of those specs and features, you get an engineered mesh upper, ReactX foam midsole, which is 13% more responsive than the previous React technology, a 4-foot rock shield, Nike Trail ATC outsole rubber with 4mm lugs. The stack is unknown, although estimated to be nearly 38mm in the heel, 29mm in the toe stack, but it does have 3 more millimeters than the previous version. A 9.5mm drop, weighing in at 311 grams or 11 ounces in a men's US size 10, which is 35 grams less than the previous version, and a US MSRP of $155. I should also mention that all the B-roll footage that you're about to see was recorded after this run or after about 30 miles. Chad, over to you.
Thanks, voiceover Chad. Now, I bought the Wildhorse 10 and the Terra Kiger 10, which I'll be reviewing on the channel soon, with my own money. However, Nike should be, they haven't as of this recording, should be reimbursing me for the purchase of these shoes. It's all part of their affiliate program. You can check out my affiliate link down below in the pinned comment or the description. If used to purchase any of your gear, I do get a little kickback, which helps to support the channel. But know that all thoughts and opinions are strictly my own. I will also be sharing my full, transparent, and honest thoughts and opinions. Jumping right in, starting with the build quality and the comfort, Nike kind of went back to the drawing board with the Wildhorse 10. Oh gosh. Whew. Okay, I need to walk up this hill. They made a lot of changes with the Wildhorse 10 compared to the previous versions, which, in full transparency, I have not had a chance to run in. But they gave it a whole new upper design. They gave it a updated and much better, much needed upgrade on that midsole. And they updated the outsole rubber, but they didn't give you Vibram Mega Grip outsole rubber. So starting with that upper, you get a fairly breathable upper material. The padding is adequate across the tongue, and the tongue is fully gusseted. Thank you very much, Nike. The laces are textured so they stay nice and tied, and in general, I don't feel the laces across the top of my foot. There's an overall good level of comfort across the top of my foot. There's some nice padding in the heel and good structure back in the heel. You also get a little bit of a toe cap, or that the outsole rubber comes up around the front of the toes, and a little bit of TPU overlays across the toes as well, just helping offer a little bit more protection and durability. All in all, the upper is actually pretty simple, and I don't feel like you're gonna run into any quality issues or premature ripping with that upper. The insole is Nike's standard insole with their typical amount of support in the arch. And then of course, moving down the shoe to that midsole, kind of the star of this shoe in my opinion, that ReactX midsole foam is really nice actually. It surprised me. It's pretty soft and kind of bouncy feeling. I actually really like it. Comfortable enough that I could run a long time in this shoe. I could see why, was it Sally McRae, Nike sponsored athlete, why she would run 200 miles in these shoes. And then moving down a little bit further, you do get a rock plate in the forefoot of the shoe, which does help to offer a little bit of stability in the forefoot. I do like having that rock plate up there, but I also don't feel completely disconnected from the trail. And then lastly, that rubber outsole, it's Nike's ATC rubber outsole, not the Vibram Mega Grip outsole that we all really wanted. But seriously, Nike, why would you give us a Vibram outsole in the Zagama 2 and the Terra Kiger 10 and not the Wildhorse 10? The ATC rubber that is on this shoe is adequate on dry trails, kind of like this one, but as soon as the trails start to get wet, it gets a little precarious. I was not confident at all running in this shoe in wet conditions. I ran in some wet, damp conditions about a week ago in this shoe, so let me show the video of that. Hey, I got that on video. So overall, with the quality and the build, I don't think you're going to be disappointed generally, except for that rubber outsole. So I'm going to give build quality a solid 8 out of 10. Now when it comes to comfort, I would say the comfort in the upper is average. I do wish that my foot was just held a little bit more securely. I do find that in more technical situations, when I'm jumping around the trail as well, that my foot kind of moves around inside the shoe just a little bit. I wouldn't say it's problematic, but it is noticed. I do really like the midsole. It's soft and bouncy and actually a lot of fun to run in. I'll talk about performance here in a moment. But the comfort of that underfoot feel is really quite nice. I think Nike really hit the nail on the head when it comes to that underfoot feel and comfort. I'm gonna give comfort maybe I don't know, 7.5 to 8 out of 10. And the reason, as mentioned, for the docking points is I wish I had a little bit more of a secure hold across the midfoot. I hope that all made sense, because I feel like I was really kind of struggling to articulate my thoughts. So let's get into performance now. I will say this, I prefer the Wildhorse 10 over the Zagama 2s. The Wildhorse 10 compared to the Zagama 2 just feels a little bit more lively underfoot, a little bit lighter weight, and just slightly stripped back, giving you a little bit more agility. And you don't get quite as much stack in that midsole, but I honestly don't think you need much more than this. Nike says that they added 3 more millimeters of stack. I don't necessarily feel unstable in the shoe in most conditions. When it gets really technical and rocky, yeah, the midsole is maybe a little soft and tipsy, but in most trail conditions, at least out here in conditions like this, yeah, it does just fine. And I was already kind of mentioned, I really like the underfoot feel of that React X midsole foam. It's really soft and really bouncy. It's quite a rewarding experience, actually. It's the type of feeling where I can go casual and easy when I want to, but if I start to pick up the pace, it becomes very kind of bouncy and rewarding as well. There's enough stack in the heel that if I'm descending down a mountain, I'm gonna get some good cushioning there. And of course, that forefoot rock plate doing its job to protect the foot, the toes. I'll come back to the outsole here in a moment, but the upper is nothing to write home about. I feel like they could have used a more breathable and lighter weight upper. Not to say that the upper doesn't breathe, but they definitely could have gone with something a little more technical upper with some good structural overlays and underlays to help offer better support, especially in that midfoot. The tongue is gusseted, which is very much appreciated, and it's not moving around on you at all. So in short, the upper is good when it comes to performance, but again, nothing to write home about, nothing that really jumps out and says, yeah. Now moving down all the way to the bottom of the shoe, that ATC rubber outsole, as already mentioned and alluded to and shown, is not the best. Nike, yeah, saved a penny, sure. Should have gone with the Vibram outsole. It's really what we've been asking for all along in this shoe. Those lugs, they're deep enough that they do dig into the trail, especially in softer dirt. But as soon as those rocks are really wet, or you get in some extreme, more technical, steep ascents or descents, then it's noticed where your traction is gonna lack just a little bit. So I'm gonna give performance an 8 out of 10. I was thinking about giving it a lower score, but that ReactX midsole foam is really nice and really stands out in this shoe. Despite my complaints about the outsole rubber grip and maybe a little bit in that upper, I am pleased with the performance, and it's one that exceeded my expectations, even though I didn't really have any expectations coming into the shoe. So now is the Nike Wildhorse 10 one that you should consider or buy yourself? Well, let's talk about value. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good job. Starting to warm up.
Yeah, we're in.
Right? Have a good run. So the Nike Wildhorse 10 US MSRP is $155. Comparing that to the also $155 priced Topo Mountain Racer 3 and the soon to be coming out, and I will be receiving and reviewing the Mountain Racer 4. The Mountain Racer 3 is a shoe that I really enjoyed, and I used it for a 100-mile race last year. I like the Vibram outsole that it comes with. I like how lightweight the shoe feels and the general overall fit with that wider toe box. I do have to give it to Nike and the Wildhorse 10 for that midsole. I feel like that midsole is better than the zip foam that Topo uses. And I'm honestly having a hard time deciding in my mind which one of those two shoes I would rather have. I like the ReactX foam in the Nike Wildhorse 10. I like that it has that 4-foot rock plate, which is something that I really could have used on my 100-mile race in the Mountain Racer 3. So at $155, I think that's a pretty good value and a good buy. You're getting a shoe that is going to be fun and rewarding to run in, and one that you can do pretty much all of your training miles in. You could even do some ultra races in the Wildhorse 10. I don't think you're gonna be disappointed when buying and considering this shoe. So with that, I would recommend that you at least check it out. Again, just because I have an affiliate link doesn't mean I'm gonna recommend the shoe, but I do recommend that you check out the Wildhorse 10. All right, just my final concluding thoughts. And if you have any questions, please drop them down below. I will be sure to answer you. The Nike Wildhorse 10 is a shoe that I've genuinely been pleased with. Yes, I feel that the upper could be a little more technical and updated to be even more lightweight and breathable and offer a slightly more secure general fit. But I haven't been disappointed in the upper either. It's adequate, but good. I really like that ReactX midsole foam, that feeling. It's bouncy, it's soft. It's a lot of fun to run in, and I like the rock plate. The outsole rubber is good enough in most conditions. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. I've really enjoyed myself in this beautiful area. Love coming out here. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. My goal is to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'll produce the videos. All you gotta do is subscribe. I've got a lot of shoe and gear reviews coming your way, a couple races, and maybe some pretty awesome run ventures. And we'll leave this video off as we always do. Remember to be consistent, express gratitude, and enjoy every mile as I am today in the Nike Wildhorse 10. I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.
Stop there, so